This is section 7.3, special products. So we're going to talk about the rule for squaring binomials. So I want you to go ahead and multiply each of the following. The quantity of x plus 5 squared. Remember, this is not just squaring the x and squaring the 5, but instead it's taking x, the quantity of x plus 5, times the quantity of x plus 5. So you're going to have to use FOIL or distribute here. So if you use FOIL, you're going to take the first, which gives you x squared, outside, which gives you 5x, inside, which gives you 5x. Oh, hold on. Something funky's happening here with my pen. So you have x squared plus 5x. There you go, plus 5x. And then last, which will give you 25. So this is x squared plus 10x plus 25. All right? So I want you to take a minute and I want you to multiply all of those. Okay, so here are the answers to those. This one is 4x squared minus 4x minus 1. So this one, when you multiply 9y minus 2 times 9y minus 2, is 81y squared minus 36y plus 4. Now this one is 64x squared plus 16x plus 1. So look at all these for a minute. Look at all the answers and see if you can come up with a relationship between where you started and where you ended up. I'm going to show you kind of a cheat or a rule so that you won't have to FOIL, you won't have to do all this multiplication. Problems like this where you take a binomial squared are going to end up having the same pattern all of the time. So your pattern or your rule for this is here's two patterns that no matter what, when you square a binomial, you're going to end up with this pattern. So you start out with ab squared. Okay, that's the rule, and here's your pattern. You end up with a squared plus 2ab plus b squared, or a squared minus 2ab plus b squared. Okay, so if you look at these, this is my a, this is my b. So you have a squared, which is 4a squared, right here. So you have minus 2ab. So 2 times negative 1 is 2, times 2 is negative 4x, and negative 1 squared is negative 1. All right, let's look at this bottom one. So let's see if it follows the rule. This is the 8x is the a, the 1 is the b. So a squared is 64a squared. So a times b, which is 8x, because 8x times 1 is 8x, times 2 is 16x, so that's 2ab, and 1 squared is 1. So each of these follow the same patterns. All right, so let's try these using the rule. And here's the rules for you again. So it'll be a squared plus 2ab plus b squared, or a squared minus 2ab plus b squared. This is a squared. All right, so here's my a, here's my b. So a squared, 7x squared, becomes 49x squared. Now I'm going to take 7x times 3, which is 21. So again, 7x times 3x, which is 21x, times 2, which will give you 42x, and I'm going to square the b, which is 9. Okay, let's do another one. So your a squared is 3y squared, which is 9y squared. So I'm going to take 3y times negative 12, which is negative 36y, times 2 is negative 72y. If I square 12, negative 12 times negative 12, it's 144, positive 144. So I'm going to do this one, a and b, x squared, a squared, plus 1 times 2 is 2, x times 2 is 4x, plus 2 squared. 5x, we're going to square that to be 25x squared. 5x times 1, negative 1, is negative 5x times 2 is negative 10x, and negative 1 squared is 1. So that's the rule for squaring a binomial. So now here's a rule for a product and sum of a difference. So if you're multiplying sum and difference. So if you're multiplying x minus 3, quantity of x minus 3 times the quantity of x plus 3, I want you to go ahead and do that the long ways. So if we're going to FOIL, I have x squared inside, outside, last. So when we put that all together, I have x squared minus 9 because these cancel. Okay? So I want you to do this, go ahead and do the same for, stop the video and do the same for the last two. Go ahead and FOIL those and see what you come up with. So this one ends up being 16x squared minus 1, and this one ends up being 49 minus 4 squared. Okay, so take a look at these and see if you can figure out the pattern or the rule for a product of sum and a difference. This one's a little easier to see and a little easier to remember. It has to be a sum and a difference. If you have two differences or two sums, this rule isn't going to work. So here's the rule. You're just going to take the square of a minus the square of b. A squared minus b squared. Simple as that. So let's go back to these. This really shaves off a lot of time if you memorize this rule. Okay, so a is x, so I have x squared minus 144 minus b squared. So a is 3x. I'm going to square that to make 9x squared. And the square of 1 is negative 1, minus 1. It's always going to have a subtraction sign. So I'm going to square a, which is 8j, which becomes 64j squared. I'm going to square the 5 and separate by a subtraction sign, so 25. Okay, do you have to use these? No, but when we're going into the next section, we're going to do the opposite. We're going to take these and return them back to the original form. It's called factoring. It's super helpful if you memorize these. That is it.